Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Jake from somewhere. Thanks for the suggestion, Jake. You asked, who decides what money looks like? And honestly, great question, because have you ever really looked at your money and wondered, why does it look like this? Who chose this font? Why does this guy look like he hasn't smiled since 1789? Well, today we're breaking down the history, the decision makers, and even the weirdest money designs from around the world. So grab your wallet, assuming there's anything left in it, and let's dive in right here on Explaining Everything. The people who decide how money looks aren't a shadowy league of billionaires in a castle, though that would be pretty cool. It's a combination of governments, central banks, and of course, designers. Because nobody wants their country's money to look like a kindergarten art project. Every single detail, from the choice of colors to the placement of security features, is carefully planned to prevent counterfeiting. They also have to consider cultural significance, making sure the imagery reflects the nation's history, values, and identity. In the US, for example, the Department of the Treasury and the Bureau of Engraving and Printing handle the heavy lifting. Other countries have their versions, like the Bank of England or the European Central Bank. And yes, these people take their job very seriously. They constantly research new security technologies like holograms and microprinting to stay ahead of counterfeiters. Plus, redesigning money isn't just about aesthetics. It's also about making sure the bills remain accessible, with features like raised printing for visually impaired individuals. Now, let's get to the real question. How do they decide what goes on with money? You'd think it would be a fun contest, like America's next top dollar bill. But no. Instead, they focus on three key things: security, history, and national pride. That's why so many currencies feature famous historical figures. They want people to look at their money and feel a sense of national identity. Like, oh wow, it's George Washington. He looks like he'd be very disappointed in my life choices. But not all money is about old dudes with serious faces. Countries like Switzerland and Norway said, hey, what if money was actually fun? So they put art, scientists, and even adorable little creatures on their bills. Meanwhile, Canada's bills look like something out of a sci-fi movie. They're colorful, see-through, and indestructible. You could spill coffee on it, drop it in a lake, and it still survives like a cockroach at a nuclear test site. All right, let's get real. Can you get your face on a bill? Can I? Because I'd love to wake up one day and see my glorious face on legal tender. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. Most countries have strict rules about who can be on the money. Usually, it's historical figures who made a major impact, like presidents, queens, and revolutionaries. And in some places, you have to be dead. So if you were hoping to see a celebrity like The Rock on your $10 bill anytime soon, bad news. There have been exceptions, though. Some places have put living people on currency, like Queen Elizabeth II, who was the Beyoncé of banknotes. But for the most part, if you want your face on money, you gotta do something really important first. Or be a monarch, which is honestly a harder career path than an influencer. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so money designs are set in stone, right? Wrong. Money changes over time. Governments update banknotes to add better security features, refresh old designs, or, in some cases, replace figures who, let's just say, aged badly in history books. Take the US $20 bill, for example. There's been a big push to replace Andrew Jackson with Harriet Tubman. And in other countries, like Australia, there's been an effort to make banknotes more diverse, representing different communities and achievements. So yeah, money is basically like fashion. It evolves, trends change, and sometimes we look back and go, wow, why did we ever think that was a good idea? Before we wrap up, let's talk about some of the weirdest money designs ever, because some countries really went all out. Meet the rye stones from Micronesia. These things were ancient currency, and they were the size of a small car. Imagine trying to fit that in your wallet. Or Zimbabwe's famous $1 trillion bill. Yep, thanks to hyperinflation, they had to print banknotes with so many zeros, it looked like someone sat on the keyboard. And let's not forget the most adorable money. The Pacific island nation of Palau once put a tiny, actual pearl inside their banknotes. Imagine going to buy a snack and accidentally giving the cashier a tiny piece of treasure. So, there you have it. Money doesn't just magically appear. It's carefully designed, debated, and sometimes completely ridiculous. Whether it's a historical figure, a see-through plastic note, or an actual rock, currency tells a story about a country's identity. And who knows, maybe someday, if you do something truly legendary, your face could be on the money too. Just probably not anytime soon. Until then, we'll just have to keep using the same old bills and wondering why they always seem to disappear so fast. If you could put anything on a bill, what would it be? A cat? A pizza? A raccoon in a top hat? Let's get creative. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.